if you people do not wake up to this, right, what's happening, take these people to account, and the fact that BIMA knows about this, the British Islamic Medical Association, right? There are some colorful things to be said about these people as well. These and wallahi, I say this, they are bona fide sellouts, bootlicking sellouts. They are bootlicking sellouts, and I'm gonna challenge any one of them to prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
I ain't no member of no BIMA, but I'ma take this one. So Shaboob, Shaboobs, whatever your name is, it don't matter because
I'm your huckleberry.
Come on then.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Shahnood here. I hope you're well. This is a very, very important message for everyone here, who's following the anti-vaccination campaign. Allahu Akbar. May Allah bless you. May Allah have mercy upon you. I've just spent a few hours on the phone with a few doctors and some activists from, up north of England.
Oh, there seems to be a research methodology here. Let me write this down. A few hours, a few doctors, some anti-vax activists, northern monkeys. Got it. Carry on.
May Allah bless them with Jannatul Firdaus. I keep saying this, keep making this dua. So alhamdulillah, one of these doctors who was responding to the BIMA video that Brother Rizwan Muhammad from Nottingham did against Dr. Latif, right? And subhanAllah, which has gone viral, and I hope you guys see it. But he gave me this document from the CDC, right? And he said something amazing. So I'm just going to show this to you, okay?
Oh, look at the excitement on his little face. So, in his own words, what he's going to reveal now is going to be amazing, okay? And I'm not sure that I'm ready for life as it might exist after I press the play button. But here goes.
The CDC records that those who have received the vaccine, right? So this is found on page 6, right? So this is found, this is the anaphylaxis following mRNA COVID-19 vaccine receipt. This is found on the CDC website. And this is a report following the vaccinations taking place in America, yeah?
That did not tickle my nuts. It's just some slides from the CDC. So his motivation for making this video is predicated on this document. And he's given the most scant details about what this document is and where it actually comes from. And I think the simple reason for that is that he has no idea what he's actually looking at. So let me very quickly try to address that first. So this is where the document comes from. It is the CDC website, but more specifically, it is a part of the website relating to the ACIP, the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices. This is the committee tasked with developing regulations for the safe use of vaccines in the United States. They also meet on a regular basis to discuss evidence, recommendations, and establish guidelines. You'll be glad to know that they're remarkably transparent about all this. As a member of the public, you can actually register to physically attend their meetings. Or without registration, you can actually join a live webcast of their deliberations during one of these meetings. And as part of this transparency, they actually make the presentation slides that are discussed during these meetings available for anyone to access from this page. So here is the document that's the subject of this video. Let me just open it here. And you can see that it's a presentation by Dr. Thomas Clark, who's a medical epidemiologist at the CDC. Okay, so now we've got that out of the way. Let's get back to what Brother Shahnood has to say about this particular document.
So what they record is out of nearly 113,000 people who have taken the vaccine, right? 3,000 of them, 3,150 have suffered from adverse health impacts. And in asterisks, what they put down here, and this is the most important bit here, down here, is unable to perform normal daily activities, unable to work, required care from doctor or healthcare professionals. This is insane.
Calm down, Shimron. There's a really logical explanation to all this, and it's not insane. Now, the most fundamental error Shamim is making here is a complete misunderstanding of terminology. It all hinges on this term, health impact events. Now, I'll admit the phraseology is unusual and awkward. I mean, you'll never get a person calling into work and saying, "Sorry, can't come in, got a health impact event." Now, us scientists and medics have to use terminology like this. And when we do, it's for a very deliberate and precise reason. Because science and medicine is about precision. And once you understand what this term health impact events actually means, the whole premise of Shimsham's video here completely falls apart. So here's what's going on. At some point in time, you're given a vaccine. Now, a little while later, you develop a health problem. It can be any health problem. It just needs to have a time-based relationship to the vaccine. That's what we call a health impact or adverse event. Now, these events could be caused by the vaccine, but they could also be coincidence. The CDC website has a nice breakdown of what can constitute an adverse event. They can include true reactions to the vaccine. Allergic reactions, even very severe ones like anaphylaxis, actually fall under this category. They're exceedingly rare, but they can happen. Next, you have side effects. These are health problems that have been shown by studies to be causally linked to the vaccine. These side effects are typically very minor. If they weren't, the vaccine would never have made it out of the trial phase. Then there are unrelated health problems that would have occurred regardless of the person being vaccinated or not. Just think to the last time that you had a headache, nausea, a stomachache, some non-specific pain that you couldn't really attribute to anything. Then there are the health problems for which no cause is known, but equally there isn't enough evidence to causally link them to the vaccine. Now, some of you may be thinking at this point, this is all very convenient for the CDC, and what is the actual point of gathering data with such a broad definition of an adverse event? And this is a totally legitimate and actually a really good question. Data on health impact events are gathered as part of vaccine monitoring systems. Now, most developed nations have such a system in place. The one in the United States is called VAERS, or the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. It has been operated by the CDC for the best part of, I believe, 30 years. Now, the VAERS system takes in reports of adverse events from healthcare professionals, patients, parents and caregivers, the vaccine manufacturers themselves, and anyone else who might be interested to report on such events. Now, this setup is a really nice early warning system. As raw reports of health impact events come in, CDC scientists analyze them in real time, and they can pick up signals that could indicate a safety issue with a vaccine. For example, a cluster of anaphylaxis reports in a certain part of the country. The CDC has staff that can follow up, get case histories, medical records, basically investigate to establish what's going on. So the reality is that we gather a lot of data on the safety and efficacy of vaccines, a lot more than for other kinds of medical interventions. And there's a good reason for that, because vaccines are given to people that are healthy. So we have to be as sure as we reasonably can that they are safe. And rest assured, these surveillance systems and other measures are in place and operated and overseen by dedicated professionals. Good people, and they do this to protect you. So coming back to VAERS, now this year with the whole COVID situation, the CDC did something new. They've launched an after-vaccination health checker app. They call it VSafe. It provides patients with a convenient means to report any adverse events that they may experience post-vaccination. Now the reason I mention this is if we get back to Brother Shinobi's favorite slide here, you see at the very top there, it says VSafe Active Surveillance for COVID-19 Vaccines. So these are summary stats from VSafe, and his interpretation of health impact events is plain wrong.
This is absolutely insane. We're talking about from over 100,000 people, from 110,000 people, on average 3,000 people. That's 3% of those vaccinated.
Okay, he knows how to do percentages. I'll give him that.
Will be unable to perform normal daily activities. Daily activities. Unable to work. Required care from a doctor or healthcare professional.
So I'm seeing a lot of anti-vaxxers making hay out of this footnote, and there's an awful lot of willful misrepresentation going on here. Now, if you have any understanding of the English language, none of this implies a life-threatening health problem. So here are the common side effects in relation to these vaccines. You can have some combination of pain, redness, and swelling at the injection site. If you're unlucky, maybe some fever, chills, and tiredness. Basically, flu-like symptoms. And this can put you out of action for anything up to a few days. You might even see a doctor to try to manage some of these very treatable symptoms. Or you might just go to the doctor to get a medical note because you don't feel able to go into work. Listening to Shaboob and other anti-vaxxers, you'd think there was this huge swathe of people who post-vaccination are in such a terrible state that we might as well be shooting them in the head to put them out of their misery. So this is where he goes into this rabid rant against the British Islamic Medical Association, a perfectly fine organization with very good and dedicated professionals.
Right? There are some colorful things to be said about these people.
Yeah, there's nothing colorful or clever about any of this. It's just gratuitous and dumb.
They are bona fide sellouts. Bootlicking sellouts. They are bootlicking sellouts. And I'm going to challenge any one of them to prove me wrong.
Ooh, You're hard.
right? There's something amazing. So this doctor, he wants to remain anonymous, and may Allah bless him. May Allah bless him, because he's coming from inside their ranks.
This
to
is getting all a
expose
bit Watergate. He's got his own deep throat.
sickness, right? And what is he saying? He's saying that the GPs, the Muslim GP, yeah, is their average, their goal is to get 1,000 vaccinations a week, right? That's £12.50 per vaccination. That's, subhanallah, what's the calculation, right? The calculation is these people are, subhanallah, in it for £12,000 a week, £50,000 a month. These doctors, these coconuts, yeah, they're gonna make $50,000, £50,000 per week to subhanallah, to endorse the pharmaceutical industry and to jab you with this vaccine.
Look, I get it. I have sympathy with the argument that capitalism is deeply problematic in the way that we practice it today and the way it touches very many aspects of our life, not just healthcare. And I definitely don't believe in the power of the free market to determine what's for the greater good. But this whole they're only in it for the profits argument has become this intellectually lazy trope for the anti-vax movement. If you want to talk about some of the real problems with the way we fund scientific research, pay for healthcare, and curb the excesses of big pharma, this isn't the way to go about it. This is just baby out with the bathwater stuff and denialism.
Right? We've just seen now the CDC reporting that 3% out of the 100 will suffer irreversible side effects.
We've seen that he hasn't demonstrated anything like that. This is yet another example of how he's twisting the facts and abusing the language to misguide people. If we go back to his favorite slide here, and indeed the rest of this document, nowhere does it make any mention of irreversible side effects. This is him editorializing and hoping you won't notice.
And that's what they're being, that's what they're only allowing us to be privy to, right? The real numbers. Know that this is a $1 trillion industry. The real numbers will always be hidden from you.
And now we're into the grand conspiracy narrative, the resort of idiots and scoundrels. To fall for this narrative, you really have to believe that pharma companies are all-powerful, control everything, and are calling all the shots. And that's simply not true. There are plenty of independent organizations, people, governments who are scrutinizing this. I mean, to exert that level of control, the pharma companies would have to be injecting us with microchips in these vaccines and controlling those microchips and by extension our brains with, I don't know, something like 5G maybe? And brother Smokey, if you believe that, what the heck are you doing using a selfie camera on a smartphone connected to the internet? Surely your testicles, brain, is already compromised.
Right? And something else we need to understand is that Financial Times, what are they reporting about Pfizer? So the Pfizer vaccine, yeah? The Pfizer vaccine, look at this, yeah? The Pfizer CEO, on the same day as announcement of the CDC, the fact that 3,000 people out of 113,000 will suffer irreversible damage from the vaccine, this is official now, he sold 62% of the Pfizer stock. You don't sell 62% unless you know your company is going to tank. Pfizer is going to tank.
Okay, you heard that, people? Pfizer's going to tank. Okay, so he's suggesting that the Pfizer CEO sold his shares off the back of the CDC data that he's been presenting. And of course, that's not what happened. Here's a news report on the share sale. And as you can probably tell from the headline, the stock sale went through on the back of promising news about the vaccine. In fact, it was the day that the initial efficacy results for the vaccine were announced. The stock sale was in no way linked to the CDC presentation that he's been prattling on about. Now, proof of that is in the dates that I've highlighted here. The stock sale happened on the 10th of November, and the CDC presentation is more than a month later on December the 19th. Now, as for the sale itself, Pfizer's position is that it's what's called a pre-programmed sale. Now, the way this works is that executives at a company usually cannot trade their company's stock outside of a short window that follows quarterly results. This is supposed to be a safeguard against insider dealing. Now, the Securities and Exchange Commission allows an exception for pre-programmed sales. The idea is that you set up a trade to execute automatically in months or years ahead, and in this way you avoid looking like you're abusing inside information. Is this a good look for the Pfizer CEO? Absolutely 100% not. Should the Securities and Exchange Commission allow this sort of thing? You'll get a resounding no from me on that one too. But whatever your views, none of this has anything to do with the safety and efficacy of the vaccine.
Right? And this is what the doctor is telling me that everyone needs to know. You need to get off the Netflix, get off the PlayStation, right? Get off the Twitter battles, between Muslims, this Muslim versus that Muslim, right? And get with the program.
The program?
This is earth-shattering stuff. So so why the Pfizer CEO selling 62% of his stock the same day as the vaccine announcement? Selling the bulk of your stake never looks good, but especially when public confidence in your company is a matter of life and death. All right. I hope you guys have seen this. Yeah.
Yep, looking at it now, and I'm fairly certain you haven't even read it. If you had, you'd have realized that it's not implying foul play and making a broader point about these sorts of pre-programmed sales. And in this instance, it risks undermining confidence in the vaccine. And that's not a good look for the CEO of Pfizer.
So please, I'm asking everyone, wake up to this, all right? This is, again, earth-shattering stuff, all right? I want you to understand that this year, 20,000 people have died less this year than previous years. And that's on the ONS, the Office of National Statistics. And we need to understand that all of this is hidden in plain sight.
Yeah, I was wondering when we were going to get to the full-throated COVID denial.
Right? And if people don't get with the program...
Man, what is this program? He keeps talking about this program. Is it written down somewhere? Because if it is, it's probably written in...
May Allah bless Brother Rizwan Muhammad from Nottingham.
Who is this big bollocks from Nottinghamshire?
And the doctors that I spoke to today, this morning, and the ulama I spoke to 2 days ago, who are all coming on board, who are all saying, Shahnood, you're right. It's one of the things you said have been vindicated.
Wow, can you imagine the echo chamber in which this numpty is being told, brother, you've been vindicated.
Right? So Bismillah, this stuff is available, inshallah, and like I said in the beginning, please refer to the beginning of this video to get the reference for the CDC thing. But know that we have to act fast to get this to the public, because subhanAllah, misinformation, disinformation is key to their success.
Well, that's a little ironic, isn't it? If you've made it this far into the video, trust me, it's been more exhausting for me. I'm Vaxman, the vaccine prick you all need and deserve. Now go away.
There. Now we can be friends again.